Hello, hello.
Makes the Chargers defense so formidable. Okay.
They played really, really hard. Obviously, they have great players. I think Derwin James is playing some of the best ball of his career right now. They're using him really well, and then obviously the guys up front, they got some stars up there, and I think just the secondary as a whole is playing really well, not letting a lot of things behind them. They're obviously coached well. They fly to the ball, keep things in front of them, fly, and play for each other.
Is James one of those chess pieces?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. They want him down and around the ball. He's a very versatile player. In that kind of Kyle Hamilton hybrid safety that can do pretty much everything for him in that aspect. Yeah, he's a vital piece to their defense.
Baker, it's one thing for teams to have maybe two bookend pass rushers with two below two and Mack, right? But they have Bosa and Dupree as their backups. So you talk about their rotation and how it's not just two guys, it's four guys you got to be worried about.
Yeah, I mean, normally you have your guys that every once in a while they might need a breather, not really on third downs, but early downs when they come out, you're like, okay, we can take a shot downfield. But that's not the case when you play these guys. They have guys that they can rotate in and feel really good about it. Yeah, and they do a good job of mixing some of the fronts that they use and getting one-on-one matchups. So, yeah, we just got to be on our P's and Q's up front.
With everything that you guys are trying to build, right, like you're trying to get better incrementally each week, what can a game like this against an 8-5 team, a very formidable opponent, what can that do potentially to help you guys down the stretch?
It's just it's the next one, the most important one. Talking about how this game's going to go, it's they don't beat themselves. They do a really good job of taking care of the football, running the ball really well, controlling the clock, and forcing teams to beat themselves and taking advantage of those mistakes. So for us, it's about the little things, executing, doing our job, and playing 4 full quarters.
And I know that you guys have been particularly successful running the ball in the red zone, but they're really stingy in that department. What makes them so tough there? I mean, I know they're a difficult defense to begin with. They've given up like 14 touchdowns or something like that. But what makes them so challenging in the red zone?
Really gap sound. They don't get bad eyes down there. They stay, everybody does their part, whatever the play's called. Nobody tries to do too much. And then, like I said earlier, they fly to the ball. They don't let you get explosives. And then obviously in the red zone, they're closing windows pretty quick.
This as a measuring stick, though, given the fact that the other teams you're facing in the second half of the season didn't have winning records?
It's just, it's the next one. It's the most important one. Obviously, it's a good challenge for us just based on how they're playing right now. We got to bring our A game, but that's every Sunday.
Baker, can you speak about the right side of your line, right? Cody and Luke have had, this is their second year working together.
Mm-hmm.
And can you talk about the individual growth of both of those guys?
Yeah, Cody's come a long way for us. He's improved each and every week, and I think just those guys, they don't say a lot, but it's a lot of nonverbal communication over there, but they work well together. And then Luke is a stud. He's you can put him up against anybody. We trust that guy to block whoever it is, and he loves a good challenge. So I know he's going to be looking forward to this week just with the guys that he's going to be facing.
In the last 3 weeks, you guys have rushed for over 150 yards, and that's the biggest change in your offense, right, from the last year, maybe 2 years ago. A lot of it's schematic, right? How much is that? Offensive line, running backs, it seems like it's taken all of them, but what would you point to say we're hitting our stride in the running game right now?
Schematically, guys are executing in the right way. And then it's offensive line's playing unbelievable in some of the schemes that we're having success on. Backs are hitting the holes where they should be. And then tight ends and tight ends and receivers are doing their job. You don't have some of these explosive runs unless guys are blocking downfield. And so that's the important part is guys being fully bought in to the run game and understanding that it helps us as a whole.
Baker, you guys offensively obviously have taken a lot of steps forward, but one area where you guys made a lot of improvement is just 1st and 10. Started drives, anytime fresh set of downs. I think you're second in the NFL in completion percentage on 1st and 10 and passer rating. I want to ask you what's different about this offense that's made you more comfortable there?
I think just being on the same page with Liam and all of our guys. Understanding what's being called, whether it's a shot play on 1st and 10, if we're in the middle of a drive, understanding if it's there, great. If not, check it down. Continue to get the ball in these guys' hands in space and let them do the rest of the work. And then when it comes to quick game, just finding those completions.
With some quarterbacks, when adversity strikes, whether it's second quarter, after halftime, whatever, you can kind of see like the downward spiral. And some guys can't get out of it in this league. You have a knack for whatever happens, whether it's a bad quarter, bad half, whatever. In the end, more often than not, you can pull yourself out of it and make the plays at the end of the game. What is it about you? Is it a switch that gets flipped? What happens in crunch time for you to be able to throw that final touchdown or make that final drive and maybe pull yourself out of a little bit of an in-game funk?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the mentality of next play is the most important. And then when it comes down to into game situations, things that you really want to go over mentally throughout the week, and obviously that helps with experience and time. But you cover those situations, you understand where you want to get the ball, where you want to do it, and obviously sometimes it's a chaotic situation, but you don't want to. It's just heightened awareness. You don't want to let the situation dictate how you're feeling, but just really attention to details and get back to the basics in those moments.
A lot of guys talk about negative self-talk when they make mistakes, when they have those interceptions. I know you said you wanted to have a few plays back, and so in a game where the next play, like you said, is the most important one, how do you avoid letting some of those things kind of infiltrate your headspace?
Yeah, I'm not exactly a great example of positive self-talk. But just hit the reset button, go through it, look at the pictures on the sideline, and then move on. And this is, we need everybody to do their job each play. So I have to be, the tone setter when it comes to that. If I'm making a bad play, it's the next one. Let's move on. Let's make it happen.
Can you elaborate on that a little more? Because you come off as someone who has a ton of confidence, even when things maybe aren't going well. You're saying you have a lot of negative self-talk when mistakes happen?
Yes.
I always appreciate your honesty. Thank you.
Baker, you guys are 7-1 when Evans has 5 or more targets. How important is it down the stretch that he's heavily involved in this?
Yeah, I mean, Mike just being in the game, and then, he said it. He started feeling better and better as the game went on, which is kind of rare considering he didn't have that many targets, but trying to get him going early and often, just because he's the game changer for us in the pass game. He can take the downfield shots. He does things. He attracts so much attention on defense in the secondary that he opens things up for other guys. So whether it's targeted towards him, but just he's kind of the focal point of our pass game.
What did you think about Mike hurdling a guy in the open field? I mean, could you look him in the eye after that?
No, he said it was the first time he's done it in his career. So I guess he's like a fine wine.
Baker, last year 4-7, this year 4-6. You probably played on teams that would have finished 6-11 in those circumstances. How mentally tough are the guys in that locker room?
It's an unbelievable group, and that's what wanted to make me come back here. I wanted that just because of the group that we have, the key pieces here, the culture that's been set far before I was here, and just for guys to be able to actually hit the reset button and say, if I just do my job and we play for each other and play together, good things are going to happen. So it's really rare to have, but it's what makes this group so special.
Some guys just not falling into that trap, though, of saying, this thing's over, we're done.
What was the first part of that?
So what prevents guys from falling into that trap of saying, this is over, the hill's too high to climb?
It's not just captains on this team, it's everybody throughout the building. Guys just being accountable and saying, we still have a chance. And there's situations that sometimes you can let dictate your attitude and effort when it comes to week-to-week work, but this is a group that's going to put their heads down and do it.
During the game, there was, Mike Evans is kind of letting people have it on both sides of the ball. I know Levante doesn't say much generally to pull guy aside. I guess he talked at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that sort of communication that goes on, how important is that? Because of what those guys have done on the field as well as.
Yeah, I mean, even if you haven't spent a lot of time around those guys, obviously their stats and the years they've played speaks for itself. And so, like you mentioned, they're not exactly vocal guys, so when they speak, everybody listens, and that's important. And in situations like that, where we're not playing our best ball, for everybody to focus in, and then obviously, like Mike talking, you're going to listen.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.